It's the Remain Seated podcast with me, Gina Barberi, and a couple of my kids. I got Jonesy here with me.
What's up?
I've got Festus there in Florida, and I promise we are not going to talk about the weather every time we do a podcast, but it's been snowing for 12 hours here.
We got a snow day.
Yeah, she didn't have school today.
No school.
Yeah,
no
that
work
never
either.
existed. That never existed for me, and I don't know why.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, I know.
And Florida, what is it?
Are we gonna? Is this how we're gonna begin each episode? I have the rundown here. I have the show rundown here.
And does it say
I've
weather?
printed it
We
out.
start with weather?
It does, and I feel like let me scratch that out.
Okay. Should we not do that
For
anymore?
the next time. It's 74 degrees here in Jacksonville, Florida. Even though nobody listening to this is in Jacksonville, Florida.
We have a listener on the Radio from Hell show that calls us from Jacksonville. That's not you.
No, they do not.
It's true. She says she looks for you at the grocery store and stuff.
Why didn't you tell me this? Why don't we meet up and do I'll do a listener meetup with the one person.
You could have a mixer with just the two of you.
Yeah, that's called a date.
Oh, okay. You could bring her on the podcast.
That
We
would be
could-
kind of fun.
Our first special guest.
Our special guest is someone Festus ran into in the grocery store.
Randomly.
So I thought today we would talk about banned books because it's been in the news a lot recently. And as I started looking at our own library here in our house, I hope DCFS isn't listening because
You're incriminating yourself right now.
I have...
Wait.
What? What?
Hold on.
What?
Okay, before
What?
before we started,
What?
you said You said okay. I think we're going to talk about banned books, right?
Uh-oh.
no.
Uh-oh.
And I said, oh wait, I have a couple.
Yeah.
I'll go get them.
Yeah. Oh, you have your Duff McKagan book. You thought I said banned books like musical.
I thought the same thing.
You did, what? How could? Oh, there's Mötley Crüe, The Dirt. That's
Remember, you walked
Oh,
into
that's
my room and you said, we're going to talk about banned books. And I was like, what? And you were like, banned books. And I was like, oh, you mean like
Banned-
illegal,
it's
not
banned.
like, I know, but I made the,
book.
I made the like strumming the guitar motion. And I was like, you didn't mean banned
Oh.
books. You meant like
Oh, that's
banned
perfect.
books.
But-
That's
but-
absolutely perfect.
I-
This
I
is not
think-
banned. This actually, Harry Potter is banned. Banned.
yeah.
If Harry Potter is banned, so should this.
Well,
the Dirt
yeah.
by Mötley Crüe should also be banned.
I was going to say, I have read The Dirt by Mötley Crüe, and it's a filthy book. And it, we lost your mic there. Nope, oh no, Festus.
I think it's on the computer.
Yeah, you're muted on the computer. I see you muted. I can
Nope.
see you. There
Yep.
you go.
Hello.
There you go.
If The Dirt by Mötley Crüe was found in a school library, I myself would go down there and remove it because it would not belong.
It is
in there.
quite inappropriate.
You really thought we were going to do a podcast about band?
It's not ridiculous. I thought the same exact
It's
thing.
not. We like to talk about music quite frequently, and this is related.
Okay, so it's kind of related because part of what I wanted to talk about is books that we have all read. And Festus, both you and I have read both of those books with the Dirt by Mötley Crüe and that Duff McKagan book. What's it called? How to Be a Man?
Yeah, How to Be a Man and Other Illusions. Apparently that's an illusion.
Well, and I remember reading that book and thinking that was actually a really good, helpful book for you to read. He has really good, life lessons in it.
No, he does. That's why. Did you buy it for me, or did I go buy it? I can't remember.
I think you asked for it, and then I bought it for you, and then I read it because oftentimes we would share books.
Yeah, I think
a
didn't
lot
I
of
buy you the dirt, or I gave you my copy of it or something? Because
something
you
like that.
read it, right?
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, I think I gave you my copy or something like that.
You gave me the Anthony Kiedis book to read.
Yeah, that was the first one that I ever read. My older brother Jeremy got that for me. Scar Tissue, it's called.
Yeah, and you read that. You were actually pretty young when you read that.
Yeah, and he does a lot of quaaludes and heroin, and I probably should
So,
not have done that.
but actually, so this is a good jumping off point for us because I remember you handing me that. So it wasn't like I saw that and went, I don't want you reading that book. Let me see what's in there. You gave it to me and said, Mom, I think you'd like this book. Now, I remember reading it going, oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff in here that maybe Festus was too young to read.
Probably.
But there's more to the book than that. And I think, if anything, it was a cautionary tale about doing drugs, if nothing else. That book is about how he got clean, mostly.
Well, and that's how he approaches it too. That's how he uses that because he doesn't do that anymore. He's clean and sober now, and that's the book ends with him describing how he was able to do that. But in order to, explain how bad it is, you have to go through the entire story of why he was addicted to drugs and all of the bad things that he did while on drugs, and then came out the other side. So it is.
I can see the value of reading that, even though maybe there was some stuff in there that maybe I didn't love that you read. There's a broader story there. And I was just talking to your sister about a book that I know she really liked because I asked her if you had a copy of The Hate You Give.
Oh yeah. I was like,
Which one's
what
that?
are you doing? It's the social justice one where
Tell them the story.
Okay, essentially there's two people of color in a car and they get pulled over for quote unquote running a stop sign. One of them ends up dying by police violence. And then the girl who's in the car with the boy who passed away goes to like a predominantly white high school, like private high school, and they all used kind of his death to like show that they're like activists and like they support it, when in reality it's like that it's not really the case. And then it was just kind of like it like engaged all of the community in different ways, and it looked at like how Black and white communities like interact with each other and how they view like different social problems. And why am I forgetting how it ended?
Was it like was it a true story?
I don't
No, it
actually
wasn't
know.
a true story.
No.
But now, were you assigned that at school, or you just wanted to read it?
I think I watched the movie first and then I read it for school.
Okay. But you really liked it.
It made me cry.
Yeah. But that book is on the banned list.
Why?
Well, no, and that's what I'm wondering. Was there anything in there that you thought was inappropriate, or if there was, like we were talking about with Festus's book, was there something that maybe was inappropriate, but the broader themes of it were more important than that one bad section?
The only like bad, it was very minor acts of racism and violence motivated by racism, that it wasn't like, there was only the one violent scene. And even then, it's nothing worse than any other kind of action movie, Marvel movie, like
you have a hard time understanding why it would be.
Yeah.
It was just the act of violence that was that came out in such a way that was, I guess, socially present. Like that kind of violence is present in the news, and so maybe that is the reason, because it's.
Well, but if it's
something that
real,
happened
why
a lot.
aren't you allowed to write about it?
Exactly.
Well, Harry
and learn
Potter's
about
not real.
It's not?
No.
But like,
As much as I would love for it to be, maybe I would have gone to college. Maybe I would have gone to Fall College if Harry Potter was real.
Well, I was looking through our library for band. I actually have banned books, the other kind you were thinking of, but I didn't grab any of those.
And
I-
books.
I looked up a list of banned books, and these are the ones we have in my house. So, according to these activist parents that are demanding books be removed from school libraries, I must be a bad parent for having these in my house.
The worst.
Let's see. The first one is Charlotte's Web,
Charlotte's Web is banned for why?
because there's. I looked this up because when I first I just looked up a list of banned books, and it was just a list of books, and then I was thinking, well, I can't figure out why that one's banned, so I looked up that. Charlotte's Web is banned because animals are talking in it. And
Have they seen any child's cartoon ever?
That's satanic, and people are talking to animals, and and then there's the threat of death, because that's the whole book is about trying to keep Wilbur alive.
This whole thing is going to make me so mad. I don't
know.
think you understand. I'm not allowed to say what I would like to say about this.
Maybe we should go
can't
back
say
to
it.
the other kind of banned books.
The Great Gatsby.
That's we were required to read that in high school.
Yeah. You haven't read that one yet? No. The Great Gatsby has a teensy weensy little bit of sex in it.
Okay, these same parents that are banning all these books, do they cut their children off from society? Like, that's the only way this would make sense, is if their
Yeah.
children do not leave the house.
Yeah. So there's
Because
the
they're
Great
exposed to
Gatsby.
death and sex and drugs and if your child is 14 and they're going to high school, they're exposed to all of those things, whether you want them to be or not, whether they have a cell phone or they're exposed to all of these topics and these subjects that are in life.
You're making a good point, because the proper place to discuss some of these things is at school. And if you are reading a book in school guided by a teacher where there's, a little bit of sex in it or something, or racism or violence, and there's a teacher there to talk you through it in an educational way, and not focus on those things, but focus on the broader point of the book.
Because it teaches a lesson about life. It's that sex or drugs or, whatever the topic may be, violence is a part of life, but it is not the main focus of life.
No,
It's not,
exactly.
because
also
when they
think-
grow up, they're going to be at such a disadvantage.
May I speak?
You may speak.
Thank you. I also think that if you're criminalizing those things at home in such a way that you're like, they're completely inevitable, and you're just making it seem like the worst thing ever, and then you go to school and your teacher teaches something with that kind of content as a part of it, I think I think a student in that environment would lose some respect for what their teacher was saying, because they've been told at home that these are taboo and you can't talk about this. You know what I mean?
Or it opens their mind to things maybe that they should be paying
It
attention
could,
to.
but that's very conflicting
Yeah.
for a young person.
If the books you're learning at school are different from what mom and dad are teaching it.
Exactly.
This next one made me mad because it's probably top 3 favorite books of mine. It's Of Mice and Men. Have you read that in school, I think?
Yeah, we were the past two, the Great Gatsby and that, we had to read in English class.
Yeah. Of Mice and Men is banned because, spoiler alert, he kills his friend at the end.
I'm guessing that's pretty obvious of why they banned it. But again,
But it's a broader story. Let's see. We have To Kill a Mockingbird, which is
another
also
classic.
a classic that should be required reading.
I read that
Yeah.
one.
Did it ruin you?
What do you think?
There's themes of racism.
Oh no, real life, it's scary.
There's a rape in here. Not a graphic one, but it's talked about. But again, broader themes that have good lessons in them. The Kite Runner. I think
Oh, I
you
did
had
read that too. That's the one about the what country was it? Some Middle
Afghanistan.
Eastern. Yeah, the Afghan. Yeah, I remember that one.
Great book. Great opportunity in school to discuss the struggles that people that most of us here in the United States don't will never have to deal with the things that people in Afghanistan are dealing with. It's an opportunity for a conversation. So I have those banned books, but the worst banned book that I have in the house is
Oh,
Skippy John Jones.
why?
Now, I saw this on the list, and I this was one of the favorite children's books we read. Not
love
not you,
Skippy
Festus.
John
This came out
Jones.
later with Jonesy and Muhammad.
What year
Well, yeah,
was
I
it
didn't have the
published?
moving picture cover technology.
No, but I looked up why it's banned, and I can kind of see why, if you were a Hispanic person, that this might be upsetting to you, because Skippy John Jones. I'm gonna read a little bit to you. This is story time.
Illegal story time.
But honestly, when I saw this on the list, I thought, well, that's dumb. But then I read
They're all dumb.
but then I read the explanation. I thought, okay, maybe there's something to this one. I don't know. Let me just read a little bit to you. Every morning, Skippy John Jones woke up with the birds. Then you got to show the picture.
Oh, thank you. I can tell you've done this before.
And this did not please his mother at all. Get yourself down here right now, Mr. Kitten Britches, ordered Mama Junebug Jones. No self-respecting cat ever slept with a flock of birds, she scolded, or ate worms, or flew, or did his laundry in Mrs. Doohiggy's bird bath. The lecture went on and on as usual. You've got to do some serious thinking before you leave this room, Mr. Fuzzy Pants, said his mother, about just what it means to be a cat. Not a bird, or a mouse, or a grouse, or a moose, or a goose, or a rat, or a bat, a Siamese cat. And stay out of your closet, she said, and closed the door. But once he was alone, Skippy John Jones began to bounce and bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. Oh, I'm Skippy John Jones, and I bounce on my bed once or 6 times, and I land on my head. On his way down to earth from a gigantic big bounce, Skippy John Jones shot past his bedroom mirror. Holy guacamole! Exclaimed Skippy John Jones. What was that? Are you guys enjoying the story?
I'm having a great
You're reading
time.
the lesson that is trying to be taught here.
Then, using his very best Spanish accent, he said, My ears are too big for my head. My head is too big for my body. I am not a Siamese cat. I am a Chihuahua. My name is Skipito Fresquito. I fear not a single bandito. My manners are mellow. I'm sweet like the jello. I get the job done. Yes, indeedo. So he's a cat.
No, 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 no. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with race. This book is trying to teach you a lesson about being your own person. That is
Yes.
the core lesson here. And they're
Yes.
using that as a vehicle. That's not racism.
And it's written in a way that is fun for kids. Kids love it when their parents read to them in a funny voice.
That was a great accent, by the way. Thank you.
But I wonder, and I will ask friends of the Remain Seated podcast, am I wrong about this one? Is that offensive for a cat that's pretending to be a Chihuahua and has a fake Spanish accent? I don't know. I'm asking. I think it's a fun book to read to kids, and I can't imagine that would be harmful. But maybe I'm wrong, and I'm willing to learn. If somebody wants to comment on that, I would like to hear. What do you think?
I think we have much bigger problems to be worrying
We have
about.
a lot of bigger problems. That was a simple way to get that lesson across, because it's a simple concept that they're trying to teach kids, is that just because you are brought up this one way, or you think you should be this one thing. You should go and be whatever you want to be. That's what it's trying to, and it's spelling that out in a simple way that kids can understand. That's what it's doing.
And I think the biggest thing we want to do is try to get kids engaged in reading and loving books at an early age. And if you make them entertaining and they look forward to story time, that's the other thing I don't have a problem with most of these books being in schools, because my gosh, aren't you just glad your kids are reading anything?
Exactly. It's not Captain Underpants.
Oh,
It's a
I'm
novel.
glad you brought up Captain Underpants.
Is that on there too?
Because guess what's on the list?
Is it?
Right there. What's number 2 on the
Number
list?
2 on the list is, in fact, Captain Underpants.
I did not know that. I was just bringing
It's
that up as an
highlighted.
example. That's
She highlighted it to make sure we didn't forget it.
Now I know Festus read Captain Underpants. Did you ever read Captain Underpants?
No.
Captain Underpants band. Let me see what I highlighted. A couple other ones here. Hunger Games band.
Okay.
All right.
They
Let's
just want
see.
kids to watch TikTok then? Are they going to ban TikTok?
The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn band.
Classic.
The Handmaid's Tale, which is one I want you to read.
I know the premise of it,
Yeah.
and I haven't read it, and I already think that's
The premise
ridiculous.
of it is look at the news today. That's the premise, where we become increasingly more restrictive for women's rights, particularly their reproductive
Oh,
rights.
so it's a nonfiction.
Yeah,
book.
exactly.
Well, all
I
of
want-
these are nonfiction.
But I want you to read that one.
All right.
Plus, it's a really well
You're
written.
condoning bad behavior.
Well, I know. I went out to the front porch 2 days ago. There's a big heavy box on the front porch where your sister ordered like 4 books. And how
Are they on the
happy was
banned book list?
how happy was I that you ordered books?
Pretty happy. I've read one today. That's what I did with my snow day.
You're still learning.
Goosebumps is on the list.
Okay,
you
what
know-
is with all of these? Are they just trying to get rid of our culture? Are they like what is it? I want to know what a not banned book is. I want to talk to this focus group of people. I want them to pick out 5 books that we're allowed to read.
The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I know you read that.
The Giver.
The Giver, which is another great. That's a book, Festus. You came home from school after reading. You've done this more than once, where you've handed me a book and gone, "I had to read this for school," or "I read," and I think you or not the Dirt by,
No, we didn't
Or
have to
Scar
read this
Tissue.
for school. Yeah,
but you.
if you haven't read this, go ahead and read it.
But I remember you handing me The Giver and saying, "This was a really good book. I want you to read it," and I read it.
Most of these books that you have listed are books that were at one time required in high school or middle school English classes. They were a
Well,
requirement.
And that's why these crazy parents. That's why they're on a banned list, because crazy
Wait
parents.
a minute.
What?
What's that one?
Oh well, I'm saving that one for the last.
Oh, okay.
Crazy parents are seeing what their kids are assigned at school or what they have available in the school library and going, "I can't believe they're letting you read this." That's the thing. Most of these books are in schools and have been either assigned reading or available reading.
There's a reason that they are required in schools.
Diary of Anne Frank is on the list.
I mean, that's a boring book. That is a very boring book.
It's
but it's an important book. It's an important book.
The Walking Dead series, I know I bought those for you, the graphic novel.
I have those. I'm looking at them right now. They're on my shelf.
I have one upstairs.
Yeah. And you're just fine.
Am I?
Yeah, you're
It's
great.
a comic book. It's a comic book.
Another book I want you to read, Jonesy, Year of Wonders, which I actually have in there. I would have brought it in if it's a book about women that were called witches, but they weren't really witches. They were just women that knew what herbs in the forest to get to turn into
So
medicine.
history.
So history. Yeah, exactly. That's
No,
her
only
name.
witches have that
Got it.
information.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then the last one on the list I wanted to mention, the Holy Bible. is on. There's a lot of stuff in there that's dangerous and violent.
And our kids
Ironically,
should
we're
not be
recording this
exposed
on
to
Ash
that.
Wednesday.
Oh, we are. We're recording this on Ash Wednesday. So I just leave you with this. I am thrilled that my kids like to read. Festus, you still read. I remember one of the best things you ever did was say, "Mom, Stephen King is coming to do a talk, and I want you to go with me to this talk. And I love that you were excited about an author, excited about a book, wanting to hear an author speak. That was so fun. I'm glad we did that. But I love that you continue to read. Jonesy's ordering books and reading them. Books are one of my favorite things in the world, and I welcome you guys to read things that aren't safe.
Because it's good, just like that book was saying about the dog turning into the Chihuahua. It's good to get out of your comfort zone and see what else is out there. And I've got the Stephen King book right there that we got a signed copy of it when we went to see him, and I've got it right there too.
And just the way Skippy John Jones ends.
Skippy John Jones can teach us a lot of lessons we didn't know we needed.
Because the way Skippy John Jones ends, because Skippy John Jones is upset and he's pretending to be a Chihuahua because he doesn't like that he's a cat because he's getting in trouble for pretending. And at the end of it, he's happy he's a cat. He loves himself, which is what it's all about, right?
Right.
But it's about exploring who you are.
Exactly.
So the point we're getting at here is read Skippy John Jones.
That's the big takeaway from this episode of the Remain Seated podcast.
But if you're under the age of 18, don't read The Dirt by Mötley Crüe. That's another lesson. Read Skippy John Jones.
I'll be the first one at the school library if they have The Dirt on the shelves there.
I'm going to go put it there.
So this has been this episode, Gina's banned book story time. If you have some ideas of things you'd like us to talk about, how would people let us know?
Well, we have a Twitter account and an Instagram account, both at Remain Seated Pod, and you can send us messages and or tweets there.
I love you both.
Love you, Mom.
Wait, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
She did. He did the thank you.
That's
what
what
am I
it
thanking
is.
you for? It's a conversation.
What am I thanking you for? She gives
No,
you
no,
free
no!
food.
Don't get up.